All right, y'all. We back with another reaction right here on ABP Reactions. And my boy Max B is outside going crazy. Ever since he put his foot to the pavement and came out of that jail, he ain't stopped running yet. So this one right here is called The Untold Story of Max B that sent Jim Jones into total chaos. Let's watch.
I don't owe nothing. He got all his songs already. How you think he got so hot? Came out with all them tapes. I did that. I put them hooks together. I made incredible music. All he did was rhyme 16s. Well, you know, I made incredible. I made the hooks. I made the melodies. Yeah. I made the shit, I'm the man. Just enough to get my room so I could ram his shit up, ram it up his ass. Right? My window was there. He tried to grab me. So when he came in the window, I punched him in the face.
Max B and Jim Jones used to be closer than brothers, but the moment Jim pushed that bond to the side, everything flipped overnight. That's what Max stopped being his secret weapon and turned into the one problem Jim could never escape.
So Jim Jones, compare the names. Look, Max Bigavel, Jim Jones. That don't even add up. That's not That's not on my level, man.
That's not
People
wavy.
was shocked when rumors started flying about Max getting involved with Jim's girl, smashing up his ride and heating up Harlem just to prove a point. Max wasn't playing at all. Charlie Wingate came up in Harlem, New York, right in the middle of that tough uptown grind. His story begins in the Abraham Lincoln housing projects, where survival was the main language spoken every single day. Max's childhood was heavy. His mother was struggling with addiction and drifting in and out of prison, leaving his grandmother to hold the family down. She became the one steady force in his life, but even she couldn't completely shield him from the streets that were always right outside the door. Way before he had the East Coast singing his hooks word for word, young Charlie was finding his sound in the boys' choir, Harlem. That's where the early pieces of the classic Max B style came alive.
You know what's crazy? That all these gangster rappers and, you know what I'm saying, all these hip-hop thugs, bad boys, they all start in the gospel church.
The loose, drifting melodies, the catchy sing-rap flow, the wavy tone that would later define a whole era. But even music couldn't hide the danger that kept creeping closer. By 18, Max had already gotten pulled into street trouble that changed everything. In 1997, he caught a robbery case and ended up serving around 8 years locked up.
Damn.
Stretch most people wouldn't bounce back from. But Max wasn't like most people. Prison didn't break him, it sharpened him. When he came home in 2005, he stepped out with a new name, a new mindset, and a type of confidence that came from real experience. That's when the world met Max Bigavel, the name he built from legends. Biggie Smalls, Machiavelli, Tupac, and Jigga Jay-Z.
Super creative name right there. Let me put them all because I'm all in one. I'm gonna put all their names together because that's what I represent. When I go on this mic, you're gonna feel all of them in my music. You know what I mean? And he hard though. If y'all sleep on Max B music, go check him out, man.
In his mind, he was the perfect mix. The smooth delivery, the painful truth, and the hustler spirit all wrapped into one.
My name is Max B, aka Max Bigavel. We know Bigavel stands for Big Jig and Pac, right? But where did the name...
Big Jig and Machiavelli, baby.
Yeah.
Big Jig and Machiavelli.
When Max returned, Harlem was already heating up. The diplomats were running the city. Cameron and Jim Jones had the whole neighborhood rocking. Max reconnected with Cam, and through that link, he got introduced to Jim Jones. Before long, he signed with Jim's label, Bird Gang, and teamed up with iconic Harlem producer Dame Grease. The moment they hit the studio together, something clicked instantly.
They got some classics. Shout out Dame Grease too. Fire producer, man. And y'all can go check out the Max B interview. It dropped with Cameron and Mace. Epic, hilarious. I learned a lot about that I didn't know about them, that they was childhood friends, and a lot of stories they shared. It's dope. Go check it out.
Max dropped his first mixtape, $1 Million Baby, in 2006, and the streets exploded with excitement. His voice, his wild confidence, his raw energy, everything he touched sounded different in the best way possible. It was like Harlem had just discovered a lightning bolt walking around in human form. Bird Gang had two rising stars, Max B and Stack Bundles. And with both of them in his corner, Jim Jones was sitting on the straight-up money machine. Max
Rest in peace, Stack Bundles, man.
quickly turned into Jim's hidden cheat code, dropping hooks and verses that blew up every track he touched. Songs like Baby Girl became classics, and anytime Max's voice floated on the record, the whole vibe instantly leveled up. But no matter how strong the music was, the street stayed right behind Max like a shadow he couldn't shake. And in September 2006, everything took a wild turn. Max heard something through his ex, Gina Conway, about a flashy dude named Alan J. Plowden, a smooth operator who was running a mortgage and mail fraud hustle while flexing stacks of cash and cruising around in high-end rides. Gina told Max all about the guy, and according to her, jealousy mixed with ambition pushed things into dangerous territory. She claimed Max straight up told her they could hit a lick and everybody involved would eat good.
Boyfriend Charlie Wingate,
Yeah, this is a story. I know the story right here. But if y'all don't know, I'm going to let it play out. But yeah, man, went down for some dumb shit, man.
aka Max B, a rapper, about the men's money. Then Wingate reaches out to this man, Calvin Leardom.
What happened next is still debated to this day, but the ending was tragic. Max wasn't physically there when the situation went down, but prosecutors insisted he was the mastermind pulling the strings. Gina, who was moving in the fast lane, dealing and stripping, testified that Max told her and his stepbrother, Kelvin Sims Leardom, to go rob Plowden at a Holiday Inn in New Jersey. The plan sounded simple. Wait until he went out clubbing, break in, grab whatever cash they could find, and get out clean. But everything started falling apart from the jump. Gina and Sims reportedly drove around lost for hours, missing turns, wasting time, and showing up way too late. When they finally made it into the room, Plowden was already back, sleeping next to another woman. And then David Taylor walked in, a man who wasn't even supposed to be there. Sims panicked hard and ended up shooting Taylor in the face execution style, turning a sloppy robbery into a full-blown murder.
It all
Murder,
began
man.
the morning of September 22nd at the Fort Lee Holiday Inn. Police are called there after a man is shot to death. The victim, David Taylor from Florida, was staying in room 227.
Gina Conway was the first piece
Crazy,
to crumble.
man.
Once she got caught, she spilled every detail she could to save herself.
Look how it
she
go,
handed
y'all.
over a 169-page statement and pointed straight at
Golly.
Max as the one who set the whole thing up. She said Max promised her everything, money, loyalty, forever, if she helped him. And when
Cold broad, dog. Cold broad. Max wasn't even there, y'all. He wasn't there. He set it up, and she aired everything out. And this nigga done got put in the murder plot. Wasn't even supposed to be a murder plot. And so the story is allegedly that somebody else was coming to rob the dude at the same time. And that's how the other guy got involved.
the feds came for Max, they came with full force. He was arrested and slapped with life-changing charges, including felony murder. His bail was set at a massive $2 million. While Max sat in that cold cell, stressing over every second, the world outside kept moving without him. Jim Jones, the same man who signed Max and brought him into Bird Gang, was suddenly everywhere. That's when Jim dropped We Fly High, aka Ballin', a track that blew up instantly. It became his biggest anthem ever, and Max claimed he wrote it. He said he ghost wrote that hit along with most of Jim's biggest records. But while Jim was doing interviews and stacking success, Max was locked up fighting for his freedom and his career.
Got him in his drive already. I don't owe nothing. He got all his songs already. How you think he got so hot? Came out with all them tapes. I did that. I put them hooks together.
Yeah.
I made incredible music. All he did was rhyme 16s. Well, you know, I made incredible. I made the hooks. I made the melodies.
Yeah.
I made the shit, dog. I'm the man.
After 10 long
the
months,
man.
Max's bail finally dropped to $90,000. That's when Jim stepped into the picture, but not with the loyalty everyone expected. Instead of helping Max out like a real friend, he allegedly used bail as leverage. Reports say Jim agreed to put the money up only if Max signed over his publishing and agreed to lock in for 6 albums under him.
Wow, Jim Jones, 6 albums, bro. 6 albums. That was the standard album deals back in the day, too. They was signing niggas for 7 albums, 9 albums. That shit crazy. That's why a lot of these artists have fucked up deals and they never popped off. Oh, man. 6 albums sound crazy.
Stuck in a cell, desperate, and with no real options, Max signed the deal. Jim walked away with
Whoa,
all the
he
publishing
signed
behind
it.
the legendary wavy sound.
Oh.
Max walked out of jail, but into a future where almost nothing truly belonged to him. Max B stepped out of jail in July 2007, a completely different man, colder, sharper, and carrying a heavy load of anger that he didn't bother hiding anymore. He was broke, betrayed, and locked into a contract that stripped him of his future. All while the person benefiting the most was the man he once called family, Jim Jones. Max sat in that cell
that's
watching
crazy.
the streets chant his name on mixtapes and DVDs like he was some kind of hood myth. And the louder people celebrated Wavy, the more obvious it became. If Jim wasn't going to lift him up, Max was ready to flip the whole situation upside down. Max had every reason to feel played. This wasn't just business politics. This was financial damage on a personal level. Jim Jones owned Max's entire publishing, meaning every...
Damn. Gave it all up, 6 albums, your whole publishing, all that for $90,000. That's how bad he wanted to get out of jail. Back against the wall, no other options, like fuck.
hook Max ever created, every smooth ad-lib, every catchy line that made people rewind. Jim was the one getting the check from it all, every single drop. And it was way bigger than money. The friendship was shattered. The loyalty was gone. Max was left walking around with a mind full of revenge and a heart frozen by the way everything fell apart.
Is Jim Jones wrong? That's what I want to know. Do y'all think he's wrong, or was that smart business? Because really it's an investment. It's like, hey, man, if I'm going to put $90,000 up, at least you could do is give me, hey, this many albums and all your publishing, because that's what I'm getting in exchange, just in case. That's a lot of money, man, $90,000. Let me know. What would y'all have asked for? Was that too much, or was that decent?
So he walked away from Bird Gang with the mission. If Jim Jones wasn't going to give him what he earned, Max was ready to tear him down in public, and absolutely nothing was off limits. Soon, Max found the perfect person to stand with him, French Montana. Back then, French wasn't a chart-topping superstar. He was a street figure with a raw reputation, mainly known for his Cocaine City DVD series that showed the gritty reality of the Bronx and other hoods. French already had tension with Jim Jones because of an old shooting situation where people said Jim was spreading bad talk about him. So when Max and French connected, it wasn't just music. It was a bond built from mutual beef and real street frustration. They formed their crew, Coke Wave, and it would become one of the most powerful and aggressive mixtape movements the streets had ever seen.
And they was tearing Jim Jones' ass apart on World Star, everywhere else in music. They was going ill, this nigga.
Max had already learned the hard way that the industry wasn't going to save him. He had no publishing, no label, no machine behind him. But he did have a voice the streets respected and a natural skill for making music people couldn't ignore. So he did what a real hustler does when he's boxed in. He went underground and took matters into his own hands. He started releasing his music for free, letting the streets hear everything the industry was trying to bury. But he wasn't just dropping songs. He was dropping verbal explosives aimed at Jim Jones and anybody connected to him. Max wasn't holding back at all. The first shot he fired was in the form of a mixtape, Public Domain 3, and from that moment on, the whole situation was ready to explode. The mixtape cover alone sent shockwaves everywhere. Max stood in a graveyard, posted up beside tombstones carved with names like Millie, Jim Jones, and Vanilli. Plus, Jules Santana flipped into Joel Santana. He was straight up comparing him to the old Millie Vanilli duo. Artists accused of faking their whole sound. In Max's eyes, Jim and Jules was trying to ride the same wave he created, and he wasn't shy about calling it out. He kept clowning them with tracks like Singing Rapping, dropping lines like, I know them dudes need me. I was giving them the loot, but them dudes done blew it. Every bar was another shot, and Max delivered each one with a grin you could hear through the speakers. But Max didn't stop at music. He went after reputations, images, everything Jim Jones was trying to build.
He was trying to
One of
finish
the wildest moments in the beef came when Max released a disrespectful track called She Touched It in Miami, where Max claimed Jim's longtime partner, Chrissy Lampkin, had been around him in ways that crossed all kinds of lines. Max didn't describe anything graphic, just hinted at betrayal while laughing through the verses, painting Jim as someone.
Hey, that song set a fire out here, man. It set a fire out here in the hip-hop streets.
getting embarrassed by people in his own circle, and the streets reacted fast. They ate the drama up instantly. Jim Jones was stunned. He didn't expect Max to go this far. He tried denying everything, brushing off Max's claims, and downplaying his impact by saying he was just a washed-up rapper who never got real momentum. Jim even insisted Max didn't write We Fly High. But the streets weren't buying it. Max's voice was clearly all over the early reference versions floating around. It was suddenly starting to make people wonder just how much of Dipset's catalog had Max's fingerprints on it. Max wasn't just talking tough. He moved like he was really ready for conflict. He even claimed Jim tried to set him up one day by boxing his car in a parking lot. According to Max, he spotted the play early, smashed his way out by ramming Jim's Bentley, and even got a couple of punches in before speeding off. It sounded unbelievable, but Max proudly showed the dents on his car like they were war medals.
I banged it just enough to get my room so I could ram it up, ram it up in. Right? My window was there. He tried to grab. So when he came in the window, I punched him in his face.
French Montana and others backed the story, and soon the whole thing turned into Harlem folklore.
Then November 2008 hit, and everything escalated. Max and French put up deep to a Manhattan building where Jim was recording and walked straight inside. They made it clear the city wasn't sweet for Jim anymore. Max later claimed Jim saw the pressure coming his way and ended up calling the cops.
Nah, he called the boys. Say it ain't so, Jim. Say it ain't so.
Which only made the situation even more embarrassing for him. Not long after, both camps clashed again at a Brooklyn club, turning the place into a full-blown brawl with chairs flying and K9 units rushing in to shut everything down. It felt like something out of a movie, but for Max and Jim, it was real life, real tension. By the time the dust settled, Max B had done more than just disrespect Jim Jones. He turned him into a running joke across the streets. Max became a cult figure, the kind of artist that didn't need a label cosign, even while stuck in contracts that cut him out of his own profits. He built his legend the underground way, flooding the streets with music people still blast today. While the beef with Jim Jones kept spreading through the streets and every mixtape spot, Max B was quietly walking toward the biggest battle of his entire life, one that could lock his wave down in concrete forever. On June 9th, 2009, Max stepped into the Bergen County Courthouse with the kind of confidence only he could pull off. Cameras were rolling, supporters were behind him, and he moved with that same wavy rhythm like he still believed the storm would break his way. His legal team came in bold too, claiming they had ripped apart the prosecution's key witness during cross-examination. That witness was Gina Conway, the woman at the center of everything. She had turned herself in and testified against Max and his stepbrother Kelvin Leardom in exchange for a lighter sentence. Max's lawyer says she wasn't telling the truth, calling her a hurt ex who was doing whatever she could to protect herself. But courtrooms don't care about—
Where is she at now? Like, what is she doing now? What happened to the girl? Where is she at nowadays? Did she get out and get the fuck on up out of New York and go somewhere else, or is she still hanging around in New York?
Swagger. They run on evidence and perception. And when the jury came back with their decision, Max's whole world flipped instantly. He was found guilty on 9 out of 11 counts, including armed robbery, conspiracy, aggravated assault, and felony murder. The prosecution painted Max as the one who planned the whole thing.
Wasn't even there.
They said he set up the robbery, encouraged Gina and Kelvin to go through with it, and expected to collect money without being there in person. The entire case pretty much depended on Gina's testimony.
Wasn't even there,
She struck a deal with the government. Her murder charges were lowered to armed robbery and manslaughter, earning her a recommended 18-year sentence instead of something much worse. Max's team fought back, saying Gina shaped her story to cut her time, and even pointed out that she told the court at one point that Max didn't know about a robbery at all, claiming she used his name to convince Kelvin to move on a plan. The defense says she only pointed the finger later because she was hurt and trying to save herself. But the jury didn't accept that version. On September 3rd, 2009, Max B was sentenced to 75 years in prison.
Damn! And y'all believed a nothing-ass stripper. A nothing-ass stripper. Y'all took her word and y'all didn't believe this man. Damn.
Right around that time, Max B gets found guilty on 9 of 11 counts, including felony murder. And he gets sentenced to, was it 75 years?
Yeah, 75.
He went from being a buzzing street icon to an inmate in one day. His earliest possible parole year was set for 2042, a date that felt like another lifetime away. The streets felt the loss immediately. People were mourning, replaying his tapes, and talking about how his wave got trapped at his peak. But while fans were hurting, Jim Jones looked like he was celebrating from a business angle. To him, it felt like he had just played the ultimate power move. Max was locked up, unable to speak for himself, unable to drop new music, and Jim still owned Max's publishing. Every hook Max ever sang, every melody he crafted, every cent made from it flowed straight into Jim's pockets. Jim
Damn,
even joked about
cold.
Max in public whenever he could, calling him goofy names, dismissing him as irrelevant, and repeating the idea that Max was washed before his career ever really began. He talked like Max wasn't a threat, like he was just old inventory sitting on a dusty shelf that he'd used once and didn't need anymore. But the streets didn't forget Max B. Not then, not ever. But things weren't nearly as locked up
And
as
not
Jim
now.
Jones thought. Even behind prison walls, Max B refused to fade away. The streets still had real love for him, and his name carried a weight you couldn't bury. Max kept in touch with French Montana, DJs, and independent labels, doing everything possible to stay present, stay relevant, and stay heard. Then in May 2010, everything shifted with one major legal win that flipped the whole power dynamic. A judge ruled that Jim Jones no longer had any control over Max B's music career.
Wow. Okay. He got it back. Let's go. That's tight. That's tight.
The court found that Max had already fulfilled both contracts he signed in 2005 and 2007. In simple terms, Max was free. Not physically free yet, but free from the paper chains that kept his art locked inside someone else's pockets. Max was still sitting in prison, but that contract being dead changed everything. He could finally drop the album fans have been begging for, and in 2011, he released Vigilante Season. And if anyone still doubted Max's influence, the streets made it loud and clear. His wavy style, that melodic street anthem energy he helped pioneer, became the blueprint for a whole new generation. You couldn't turn on the radio without hearing echoes of Max in someone's cadence, harmonies, or even the slang they used about waves, vibes, and freedom. Then came the unbelievable twist in 2016. After 7 years inside, Max's new legal team dropped a bomb in court. They argued that his original lawyer had mishandled the entire case, claiming the lawyer wasn't focused on defending Max the way he deserved, but was instead hoping to cash out if Max beat the charges and blew up even bigger. This move, called post-conviction relief, actually worked. The judge threw out Max's original 75-year sentence. Max then took a plea for aggravated manslaughter, which cut 55 years off his time.
Sheesh. Wow. Took off 55. I know he like, woof. That's a relief, nigga. Shave off 55 years. I got a shot at getting a date, and now I'm finna be outside. I got a chance, y'all. It ain't too late. I might get out when I'm like 50, 40, but it ain't too late.
The sentence dropped to 20 years, then down to 12. And with the years he had already served, a release date was suddenly on the horizon. Max wasn't going to die in prison
About to
after
get a
all.
date.
His official release date was set for November 9th, 2025.
Originally, you were sentenced to
there
75
it is.
years. But then last July, you said you got reduced to 20 years and then to 12 years.
By this point, Max B wasn't just a rapper, he was a legend, a myth, an influence that traveled way beyond bars.
Come on.
His fingerprints were everywhere, from underground freestyles to superstar albums. Kanye West tried to name his 2016 album Waves and had to publicly shout out Max after fans called him out. Kanye even featured Max's voice on the track. Drake and Wiz Khalifa both said Max influenced him. Even Jim Jones, someone who spent years downplaying Max, admitted in a rare honest moment that Max B could have been bigger than Drake if he had stayed free. Are Max and Jim still enemies, or is the war finally over? Max sounded like a man who had changed. He said he was focused on being better, a husband, a father of four, and that the old anger wasn't driving him anymore. He even hinted that maybe, just maybe, the beef could finally be put to rest. But Jim Jones wasn't on that vibe. Even though he and French Montana rebuilt their friendship and even made music together in 2023.
Man, come on, Jim Jones. Let it go, man. Because what I can say is Max B is home right now. And he has yet, I haven't seen no clips where he's dissing Jim Jones since he touched down. And that says a lot. Because before he went in, he was bombarding that nigga with disses, videos, everything you can think of going at Jim Jones. Since he's got out, I haven't heard one shot at Jim Jones yet, which is a good sign. What do y'all think, man? Should Jim Jones let it go, squash it, and get this shit back together, man? They don't got to be friends. They don't got to at least squash it for the people, for hip-hop. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section.
Jim made it clear that Max was a different situation entirely. He said he didn't wish Max harm, but he wasn't trying to get close either.
Damn, man. All right. They gotta get it together, man. They gotta work together, man. Come on, for the people, man. For the people, show that you guys are on a righteous path. And for the youth, man, showing that y'all can squash beef, come back together. As long as the business is in good standings. If the business is still not in good standings, which y'all say it is, you know what I mean? I don't see no harm, no foul here. I don't think Max B is tripping. Max B is focused. He's about catching up on lost time. And I'm excited to hear new music from him, man. Let me know what y'all think about Max B and Jim Jones. Should they squash it? And what do you think about Max B? Is he finna go on a run A crazy run like we ain't never seen before in hip hop with somebody who got out of jail? Let me know what y'all think, man. I'm gonna give y'all 2 seconds to smash the like. And as always, get ready for the next reaction.